Today, we're talking about 10 IT terms that you might have heard of, but you don't quite know what they are. Let's get into it. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Adrian Reddix, and today we're talking about some IT terms that you might have heard of, but you don't quite know what they are. So the inspiration for this was TikTok. Surprise, surprise. I do a little series over there called IT Training School. If you hadn't checked out my TikTok, I don't know why. If you still have it and you're in the US, go check it out. If you're not in the US, download TikTok and check it out. Same name, Adrian Reddix. But a big revolution has happened on TikTok. This professor named, I think her first name is Valerie, but I'm not 100% sure. But her name is Dr. Barlow. She posted a video for her real life class for African American Studies.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Introduction to African American Studies for the spring semester. My name is Dr. Leah Barlow. It is cold outside, but I really wanted to quickly get on and just show my face, introduce myself, share a little bit about me and the course.
And it just blew up. It came across my For You page. I'm like, is this a joke? Like, is this somebody trying to be funny? But she was legit serious, and she legit has a class. I think her explanation was that she posted the video on TikTok, so whenever her students were on TikTok, they could just happen to scroll by it and see what they needed to do in class. And it became a big thing, and a lot of different people were doing, a lot of people are doing different classes on different aspects of anything. You got people doing it on financial responsibility. It exploded into this like free college course via TikTok. It was very accidental, but I think it's a really good thing that you have these very knowledgeable people. You get access to them, right? And what would cost thousands of dollars to hear these people talk and lecture and instruct, you're getting it for free on TikTok. I think it's a great thing. But let's get into some of these IT terms. The first one is going to be SSH. That stands for Secure Shell. So this is what we use to access servers and different other appliances and things like that, so we can have a secure connection. Because one thing you always have to do in IT is make sure everything's secure at all times, no matter if it's at rest, if it's in motion, whatever state the data or the transfer data is in. It must always be protected. So this is a secure way for us to get inside a system to run some command line things to either do maintenance or repair or things like that. So SSH stands for Secure Shell. The next one is going to be PDF. That stands for Portable Document Format. So basically, it was a format that was introduced in the 90s, and there was really no great universal way of taking a piece of software or a document from one system and put it in another, because all these systems had their own proprietary document formats. It quickly became the universal document format. Let's say that you are trying to send a message out to a bunch of people. Not everybody's going to have Word. Not everybody's going to have, hopefully you don't have Word perfect. People aren't going to have the same word processing, but every device that connects to the internet, like phones, tablets, of course, computers, and a lot of different other devices can read the PDF format. So it's become a very universal thing. So PDF, portable document format. The second one is going to be AP. AP stands for access point. So what an access point is in the wireless network. Let's say you have your router at home. Well, if a Wi-Fi signal comes from it, then that's an AP. It's basically how you access the network wirelessly. Doesn't necessarily have to be the internet, because you can access an AP and never actually go to the internet. But you could access network resources. So AP is just what it is. It's an access point. It's how you can get on the network without having a wired connection. The next is going to be PNG, and that stands for Portable Network Graphics. What does that mean? So basically back in the 90s, GIFs used to be something that you had to license. And it was expensive, and it was for animation. So what happened was they developed PNG, and PNG, instead of being animation, was just like a single image. And this quickly became like one of the more universal ways of doing graphics, like pictures and things like that. You had JPEG, but JPEG was a little more, the compression ratio, which is basically what was happening with PNG and JPEG, they're different. So JPEG takes a big bunch of data and tries to shrink it as much as possible. Sometimes JPEG compresses too much, in my opinion. But PNG is that good middle ground that you can get some good compression out of it, but you don't lose as much quality sometimes as you do with JPEG. The next one is RAM. RAM stands for Random Access Memory. What is RAM? I'm going to have a video about this later, but let's give you a little quick preview of what RAM is. Think of RAM as a work desk, right? So the smaller the work desk, the less actual work you can actually do on it. But the bigger your work desk is, the more work you can do on it. But just like a work desk that you can just take it and swipe it all off at the end of the day, in theory, and you can start off clean the next time you come and try to do work. So think of RAM as the work desk of the computer. This is where the work actually happens. The next term is going to be the opposite of that, and it's ROM. ROM stands for Read Only Memory. So what is ROM? ROM is definitely not the desk. Think of ROM as storage, right? It's a filing cabinet. The desk is the RAM. The filing cabinet is ROM. It's where we keep all the stuff that we're going to need later, but we definitely don't need to get rid of. It's going to be storage is what it is. So ROM is storage. RAM is work. So that's the big difference. So read only memory, think of it as just storage for your documents. The next one is going to be CPU. CPU stands for Central Processing Unit. People use CPU in two ways. The first way is going to be if you're talking about a desktop, the actual place where the motherboard, the case, where the motherboard and all the internal components are. A lot of people colloquially call that the CPU. And I personally think that's an acceptable way of using that. The other way is the actual processor inside of a computer or a device. It's the actual brains of the operation. Without the CPU, your devices don't work. There's no way to process everything. That's what's called the central processing unit. It is the key component when it comes to devices, right? But also you can use it to describe the case of a computer. So either term is acceptable. So the next one is going to be DHCP. That stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. What in the heck does that mean? In the world of IT, whenever you connect to a network or the internet, every device has to have a unique IP address. And basically what an IP address is, think of it like a street address to your house. Like you may have a house that looks similar to yours, but it should not have the same address. Your house may be 236 Oak Street, and you may have a house look exactly like yours, built exactly like it, but it's 239 Oak Street. So even though things may look different, everything has its own IP address. And what DHCP does, it hands out IP addresses for you. So back way back when, you used to have to manually hand out IP addresses to different things on the network. But what DHCP does, it does it automatically for you. So that's less stress on your IT team, and also your router. If you have a home router, it's set to DHCP. Like anything that connects to it, it assigns an IP address without you having to go through there and do it. So basically, it helps keep all of the stuff for your network organized. So let's just say if I wanted to print from my laptop to a wireless printer, well, the DHCP on my router has given my computer an address and given the printer an address, so they know where each other is and who they're talking to, right? The next one is DNS, and DNS stands for Domain Name System. What's a DNS? All right, so if you know anything about computers like to talk in numbers. They understand numbers better than actual words. And so what a DNS does, it translates IP addresses. Remember, IP addresses are like home addresses to like graphical names. What does that mean? Okay, so let's take Google, for example. One of the IP addresses Google uses is 142.251.12.101. So if you go to your web address and type 142.251.12.101 and hit enter, it's going to go to google.com. So that's a DNS server doing that. So it takes either the IP address and translate it to something that you can read, and it does vice versa. It takes the google.com and transfers it to something computers understand. So basically, it's just an exchange. So it has a list of all the IP addresses, and then it has a list of the corresponding names. And so whenever somebody types either one, it can translate between the two. So if I give you an IP address, the DNS server knows that, hey, this IP address is associated with this name or this network resource, and it can go back and forth like that. So DNS takes IP addresses and turns them into something that you can read. And the last one is GUI. And GUI stands for Graphical User Interface. So if you know anything about computers from the past, like in the 80s and the 90s, and even today, a lot of it can be accessed through command line. So you have to know the different commands to get the computer to do something. That's kind of how computers still work. But what the graphical user interface does, the GUI, is takes those commands and puts them in a form that's easier for people to understand. Now, under all these graphics and stuff, the computer is still doing command line stuff. It's still running these commands, but you don't see it because, again, much like DNS, it takes that command line function and puts it in a way that's easier for humans to understand, right? So basically, the graphical user interface is what you actually see on like Windows, like how a program pops up and things like that. So graphical user interface makes computing easy for humans because it puts it in a way where people can understand how and what's going on. So GUI, graphical user interface. That's it, guys. Thanks for joining me. I hope you guys learned something today. Thank you to Dr. Barlow for accidentally starting something like this, even though I was doing IT training school before this, but whatever. But she sparked a revolution on TikTok accidentally, and you're getting some really good information over there. So if you guys want to learn a little bit, go on TikTok and look for Hillmantok, and you'll see a bunch of videos of people teaching you things that you wouldn't normally think of, like gardening and how to file taxes. It's a lot of great stuff over there. But if you guys like videos like this video right here is going to be about Office Suites, because I like Office Suites. And the other video right here is going to be what YouTube think is the best video for you to view next. And I appreciate you guys for joining me. Have a good one.